I ain't never wanted to be Shaq in any level. Never disrespecting him.
Yeah.
But he's always had something to say. And, you know, there's times where I gotten upset and I'm like, yo, Shaq, this gotta stop, man. And at this point, I'm like, do we need to throw hands? Do you really want to, like, do we need to go ahead and squabble?
Dwight Howard and Shaquille O'Neal are going back and forth over social media. And this tension between the two big men is something that has recently ignited, or reignited, should I say. And it was followed by comments Howard made during a podcast appearance on the Ray Daniels show when discussing his years of animosity. And Howard hinted that he might even show up to TNT Studios to challenge Shaquille O'Neal to a physical altercation. And he's basically suggesting that Shaquille O'Neal keeps pushing him over the edge. But in response, Shaquille O'Neal went on social media and did his little 1, 2, 3 thing, you know, Shaquille with the jokes and everything, and basically was saying that Dwight Howard was dead to him, and he dismissed the idea of settling things with a fight, even though this feud appeared to escalate quickly. But Howard's recent attempts to reconciliate indicates his desire to close this chapter in his life, which is the beef between him and Shaq. The two basketball giants have a complex history, with Howard often compared to Shaquille O'Neal throughout their careers due to similar playing styles and the positions as centers, and also the whole Superman thing. The name of Shaq was Superman first, and then Dwight Howard became Superman during the dunk contest when he wore the Superman outfit. And it gets a little crazy to a sense because these are two grown men, and you have to be careful when you're doing interviews with people on social media because they ask certain questions and then you say things that you can't take back. Like Dwight Howard saying, you know, if he want to squabble, see, those are enticing something to possibly become something that's nothing, because you're mentioning the squabbling and things like that. So you have to be careful. And I say that to anybody, especially if you're having something back and forth on social media. But as well, Dwight Howard did say he tried to reach out to Shaq and wanted to have a man-to-man with him and squash the beef, but Shaq didn't respond to, hey, let's have this man-on-man meeting, because he felt a kind of way. He felt that Shaq was dissing him every time he mentions his name or his name is mentioned within circles. But anywho, Shaq responded. He said, still don't care. Nice move. I see what you're doing. Your legacy is your new podcast. That's how you will be remembered, and you need views. Damn, I taught you well. Great job, Hall of Fame podcaster, but still don't care. You need to sit down. You need my validation. I don't need yours. How will you be remembered? Think about that, podcast boy. I have an empire to run. Now leave me, son. I've been talking 20 years, but you want to squabble at 50? Well, I decline. I'm too old. Again, nice move. Love you, son. See, that's Shaq poking the bear at him again, because that's what Shaq does. He's a big guy, but he's also a big jokester. And I understand some people can't take jokes as that well, but still, if you can't take jokes, you got to be careful when you use certain people's names trying to get your algorithm going. Shaq basically said, hey, he got this podcast, and this is the way you start it. So if somebody's trying to teach you how to do a podcast, they're going to say, hey, use the best scenario or the best altercation that you got with somebody, and that'll be your first podcast. That's the one that's going to lift you up out to the moon. And I notice that's what people do a lot on social media. But you have to be careful when you do that, because people respond nowadays. People are always quick to respond, whether it's via Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or on another podcast. People are going to respond. So it's best to keep trying to connect to a person and have a conversation with them and talk about it and say, hey, guess what? How about we do a live back and forth to squash our beef? Because it works in a lot of ways. For one, you're showing young people how to conduct themselves, and you're also getting it out to the air, and everything is squash beef. because, you know, people will be able to bring it back and say, hey, they squashed it right here. Now we see he brought it back up. See, so it works that way too. But at the end of the day, these are both two legends in my humble pie. Yeah, Shaq was a bigger name, but Dwight wasn't a bad name at all either. So I say this, you take what you have accomplished and you continue to move on. Try to be a person that can genuinely communicate with others without having these disputes, especially over social media. Because if we're looking at it in hindsight, we can see that social media is going to be the demise of people, because this is where we go and vent out and talk down on people. And it's not a good look, people. And with that, I'm going to say this is the news in you. North, east, west, south, unite from every alley in Cali, intersection and back street. Subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up on your way out the door.
Star child, I never